even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after we win the presidency. We win. All of us together are going to win. I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I know them both. I will get it settled. We will demand that Europe pay much more for the cost of defense. You know, we're paying the lion's share to Ukraine. And I keep saying, why isn't Europe paying more? You know, the economy of Europe, if you add up all the various countries, is about the same size as the United States. They've got plenty of money. Why are we paying, and they're paying very little by comparison? They have to equalize, and they have to equalize fast. It's not right. And remember, it's more important to them. We have a thing called an ocean between us. Much more important to them. They have to come up with the money. That means somebody has to ask them. You know, I did it with NATO. I said, you're not paying your fair share. They said, you're the only one that's ever said that. I was the only president. Bush would make a speech. Obama would make a speech. They'd all go and make speeches, and they'd leave, and that'd be it. I didn't make a speech. I said, what are you doing? I looked at the books. I said, we're paying 90%, maybe even 100% of NATO. So we're defending you militarily, and you're taking advantage of us on trade. How does that work? And I said, you have to pay. They ended up putting up more than $430 billion. $430 billion, because I asked. Now I asked the right way. I remember during a meeting, one of the presidents of one of the European countries stood up, and it was a closed-door meeting. He said, may I ask you a question, Mr. President? Yes. If we don't pay, we're not paid up, and we're attacked by Russia, will you defend us? I said, you mean you're delinquent? You haven't paid? That's right. No, I will not defend you. The next day, the money came pouring in. You got the money. I took a lot of heat from the fake news. They said, you shouldn't treat allies like that. I said, no, allies shouldn't treat us like that. They should pay their bills. And it made NATO much stronger because of it. It made NATO rich and strong, and the head of NATO, the Secretary General, he said, Stoltenberg, he said that Trump is amazing. He did something that nobody else has been able to do. It's incredible. And now, I don't know if he'd say that today, but he certainly said it then, and I think he said it recently even again. And another thing that was very good is a country, Hungary, very strong leader, Viktor Orban. They asked him, why is the world blowing up? What's wrong? This is a few weeks ago. Why is it so bad? What do you recommend? Now, he's a strong man. He's a strong guy. He's a tough leader. He runs a country very well. He allowed no illegal immigrants in his country. He went against other European countries, which have frankly half destroyed themselves. And I said, they asked him the question, what would you recommend? He said, I would recommend one thing. Get Donald Trump elected president again, and you're going to have no problems anywhere in the world. Get him elected president. That's true. Thank you. Thank you. It's true. I don't want to be the one to say it, but if I don't say it, nobody else will. That I can tell you. And he used a word I wouldn't use, but he used it. He said, China was afraid of him. I don't like to use the word afraid. Let's say they respected me. But he said, China was afraid of him. Russia was afraid of him. Look what I did to Russia. Nord Stream 2, nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. Nobody in this audience. I'm the only one that knew what it was. It's the biggest pipeline in the world going to serve Europe. And I said, so we're defending them against Russia, and yet they're paying Russia billions of dollars a month for oil. How does that make sense? I ended it. I closed Nord Stream 2. Then they say that I was friendly to Russia. I wasn't friendly to Russia. I got along with Putin. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. But I closed Nord Stream 2. And Putin said to me, if you're friendly to me, I'd hate like hell to see if you weren't friendly. This is not good. He was not happy. But I closed up the pipeline before it got finished, before it got built. When Biden came in, one of the first things he did is approve Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline in the world. And then they say, oh, Trump was very soft. They're full of misinformation and disinformation. That's all they're good at. That and cheating on elections. That's all they're good at. Biden's weakness has led the planet to the edge of nuclear war. I will bring the world glorious new peace, and I will make the following statement. I am the only one that can say this, I believe. I know them all, and they respect me. They don't respect our country anymore. It's a country that's in decline. But they respect me, and we're going to have it back very soon. We're going to have a great country very soon. But I'll say this. I will prevent World War III. I'm the only one that's going to do it. Biden. You know, if I were president, if the election were an election that it should have been, you would have never had Russia attacking Ukraine. Even Democrats admit this. Would have never happened. Never did happen for 4 years. Not even a discussion. Russia wouldn't be attacking Ukraine. And on October 7th, Israel would have never been attacked by Iran. Iran was broke. When I was president, Iran was broke. I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business in the United States. I said that to many countries, and they did very little oil. Check it out. They did almost no business in selling oil, which is their lifeblood. And we would have had a deal within 1 week after the presidential election. We would have had a deal. And you know what the deal would have been? It would have been fine for them. But it would have had one thing. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And now they're 60 days from having a nuclear weapon because these people have done nothing. I gave it to them on a silver platter. They were broke. They had no money. And I heard this from a Democrat congressman on Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Deface the Nation. And he said, I will admit that under Trump, Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for terror. And now they have $230 billion. They made it in 3.5 years. But we'll get something done. But it's a very precarious position. But I will prevent World War III, and we will have peace through strength. That's what we're going to have. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome, very much like Israel has, but even better. I'm saying, why don't we have that? We should have that, too. We have a lot of hostile people out there. We have a lot of bad actors out there. We're going to build the greatest dome of them all. We're going to have it all made right here in America. Some of it's going to be made right here in Michigan. State-of-the-art missile defense shield that will be entirely built in America and will create jobs, 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 and we're going to have the greatest dome of them all. We're going to have greater. You saw how effective that was with Israel last week with 300 rockets shot, every one of them knocked out, every one of them knocked down. Probably if they didn't have it, they wouldn't even have Israel right now, if you think about it, right? All those would have hit various locations. Virtually none of them got through. Amazing. We're going to have a more sophisticated version. We have the technology. We have the genius. We're going to have we're going to build a great Iron Dome. We're going to have a shield around our country, and it's made here, and it's going to be a great day. We're also going to rebuild our cities, and we're going to make them beacons of hope and safety and beauty, better than they have ever been before. Right now, they're crime-ridden. They're falling apart. They're run by Democrats. I'll work with the Democrats. We're going to rebuild our cities. You see what's happening with your cities. You see Detroit. For 35 years, I've heard about this great comeback in Detroit, and we're still waiting. We're still waiting. It's taken a long time, but we're going to make our cities great again. We're going to take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., clean it up, renovate it, rebuild our capital city so that it will become the most beautiful capital in the world again, and we're going to get rid of the horrible, violent crime that's taking place there. You go there from Michigan and you end up getting stabbed or shot, and people aren't even going. It's horrible. Graffiti all over the place. We're going to take it back. We're going to make it beautiful. We're going to renovate it and build it, and we're going to make it much more beautiful than it ever was. It'll be the most beautiful capital city anywhere in the world, and we have an obligation to do it. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. I will keep men out of women's sports day one. Day one. Signed up. Day one. How ridiculous is that? How crazy. That's like open border. I mean, there are things that are so crazy. Like, who the hell wants an open border where countries from all over the world are infiltrating and violating our country? It's the same with men playing in women's sports. I mean, take a look at what's happening. Take a look. It's so disrespectful to women. But take a look at what's happening to records. Records that have stood for 18 years are being shattered. Shattered by numbers that nobody's ever even thought of before. I will fully uphold the always under siege Second Amendment, guns. I will always uphold. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech, and we need free speech in this country. And I will do something that nobody else has a passion for like I do. I will secure our elections and make them real, beautiful, safe elections. And our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. Very simple. Voter ID. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to win. We have to win. That's why I say, use your heart. Go back to the abortion question. We have to win. But we have to go out. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very bad period for this country. We have to win those elections. We want, in the case of our election, our presidential election, we want a landslide that's too big to rig. Too big to rig. We got to make it so big. Because one thing we know, at a certain level, they can't cheat. They can cheat, but it won't matter. So we think we're going to have them stopped, but that's what they do best. We want to make our win too big to rig. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as crooked Joe Biden and the Biden administration has done. And I used to say, and you know that because a year ago, if you heard me at a rally, and the rallies are bigger and better and stronger than ever before, the whole thing is ready for a big victory on November 5th. But if you heard me, I used to say if you took the 5 worst presidents, now I said that's not enough. Now I say 10 worst. I have a feeling by the next time we meet, it'll be the 15 and maybe the 20 worst. He's so bad. He's the worst president ever. It's pathetic. And you know what? As a country, we're laughed at all over the world. All over the world, we're laughed at. He flies to Saudi Arabia to meet the king. He's in the plane for 24 hours. He stumbles out of the plane. He meets the king finally. And instead of shaking his hand, he gives him a fist pump. In other words, don't touch me. I don't want to touch your hand. This is what we got negotiating for us. He can't negotiate. He can't do anything right. And everything he touches turns out bad. And we just don't want it. We want to make our country great again. We're tired of watching this clown show. So if you want to save America, get every common sense person you know, you go register and vote Republican. You got to vote for us. You got to vote for Mike and everybody else on the ticket. But we're going to turn it around fast, Mike, right? We're going to turn it around fast, and he's going to be a great help. I'm so happy that he's running, frankly. I'm so happy. So in conclusion, together, we are taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. We've never seen anything like it. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to you. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right. This is your God-given right. From Marquette to Midland, from Frankfort to Flint, and from Detroit to Saginaw. We stand on the shoulders of red-blooded Michigan patriots who laid out the railroads, worked the factories, tilled the fields, forged the steels, fought the battles, and won the victories that made America into the greatest and most powerful nation anywhere in the world. We love our nation. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and it's lost its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror, it's an absolute horror, to continue any longer. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hard-working patriots like you, the people of Michigan, who built this country, and it's hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. Our country must be saved. Our country is in big, very dangerous trouble. Our country has never been in a position like this. We're laughed at all over the world. We're not respected by anybody. Our economy is going to hell. Inflation is eating everybody alive. Everything is wrong with our country. There's nothing that's going right. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout out the fake news media. We will drain the swamp. And we will liberate our country from these tyrants and villains once and for all. We will liberate our country. Like those patriots before us, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield, we will never give in, we will never give up, we will never, ever, ever back down, we will never back down. With your support, we will go on to victory, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House, and we will take back our country on November 5th, 2024. The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer, and it wasn't forgotten. Man and woman 4 years ago was not forgotten. They were somebody. They were proud. They loved our country. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Michigan. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless you.